So here at Nkositalkshows, find your own voice, lead from within. With me today is Amanda Marie and Nick Motishka. Sorry, guys, for what I said before. I don't know what I was thinking. Nkositalkshows families, no, I'm sorry. So, how are you guys?
Excellent, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. It's Zoom. It's going live, but here with me says no. So I'm getting confused with it. So our topic today is transform your mindset, the power of thoughts. So what did you think, Nick, when you saw this topic?
I thought, what a great topic, number one, because it's so important that I'm glad we're going to be talking about it today, and I hope to gain some insights from you guys on how you manage your own thoughts, because like the title says, there's a lot of power in those thoughts. So we need to be mindful of where we're going with our thoughts, and when you are able to do that, the power of that is no joke for sure. How about you guys? What do you guys think?
Well, I love the topic, especially because it relates to the book I'm reading right now called You Are the Placebo, which is all about the placebo effect and our ability of our mind to essentially heal ourselves through our thoughts and through thinking that we've got a placebo, or getting a certain drug or getting a knee surgery. Even it talks about these people that they gave botched knee surgeries to, and on purpose, fake ones, but people thought that they had the knee surgery and then miraculously got better. And so the power of our thoughts are huge, and they have a huge healing potential that we don't really even understand until we start reading things like the placebo and You Are the Placebo, and studying this placebo effect, because our thoughts are so powerful.
I love that. I love that, Amanda and Nick. And also, when I saw the topic, actually, I got it. The topic was what we think we become. So I was like, then I put on the software, then they've changed it based on YouTube. So I think it's amazing because our mindset are the collection of our beliefs and the attitude, and also and perspective that we hold shapes how it shapes our reality and influences the outcome we experience in real life. So it's very, very important to learn to manage your thoughts. Because if you learn to manage your thoughts, you will be able to actually design the life that you want. Negative thoughts often come during the day or even at night when we are sleeping. So you just have to be aware of them. But are we really, really aware of them? Because some people, they welcome them. Some people, they reject them. Myself, sometimes I I see them and then I'm like, no, these are not my thoughts. And I'm like, my mind, myself, the norms that I know will be thinking about this. So I redirect my focus to where I need to focus. So what do you think, Amanda or Nick, if somebody has a limitation of cultivating positive mindset, how can they be aware and approach their thoughts so they can unlock the world of possibilities and truly transform their lives? Is because it's very, very important to actually transform your life. But some people that are watching, they might be like, I don't know how to do it.
I would say number one is to just be aware that your thoughts are important and your thoughts do create your reality. And then once you know that, and then have like, well, that book that Amanda's reading, I haven't read it, but I have heard of it. And I mean, something like that would be an amazing place to start, just to show you the power of your thoughts when it comes to how you can direct healing within your own body and how you can change your external world with thought alone. And then I would say just give yourself grace too, because you've been thinking all of the thoughts that you've been thinking for your entire life. And those programs that have been running for years and decades potentially and longer. And so to give yourself some grace while you work through it, and it's going to be an ongoing process. And even the masters, let's say, the people that have been working at this for decades again, and they still have moments where they slip into the negative stuff, but they are able to, with a lot of effort and conscious thought over the years, they're able to shift those a lot quicker and realize, oh, like within quicker time frames is kind of the goal, that I'm going to a negative place, and then they're able to do what works for them to shift that and then get into more positive thoughts. And so I would say awareness and then grace while you work through it, because you're going to get sucked back in. And this is something that I've known for a number of years now, and something I've been working at, and that's watching my thoughts and trying to keep them in a positive place. And there's still times every day where I slip into negative thinking. And so it's, don't beat yourself up is what I'm trying to get at here. And then just, take small steps and do things that bring you joy. And that's about all that's coming to mind here for me right now, but I'm excited to hear what Amanda has to say.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what you said about becoming aware of your thoughts. And it's interesting because I was just reading this part of the book last night, and it talks about the mind and how essentially 5% of the mind is conscious and 95% of it is subconscious. And essentially, the conscious mind consists of logic, reasoning, and creativity. And so those are the pieces that we are conscious of, that we are aware of, but then when we start to become aware of the subconscious mind, that's when we can truly transform. And what you're talking about, Nick, is the reason why we fall back into those patterns is because of our subconscious mind. And essentially, our subconscious mind is our skills, our habits, our emotional reactions, our hardwired behaviors, our conditioned responses, our associated memories, routine thoughts and feelings, our attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. So that's the reason why, if you're really trying to consciously shift your mind, the reason that you fall back is because of your subconscious mind. So what you need to learn how to do is how to retrain your subconscious mind. And so to pick one pattern that you're going to shift. So if you want to get into better shape, then you need to make your subconscious pattern become going to the gym, so that it's just subconsciously you go 3 times a week, no matter what, so that this becomes your new pattern that you don't fall back into. And they say it takes 21 days, I believe, to start a new pattern and make it consistent. But I know even for myself, and I've always gone to the gym or gone to yoga or played in sports, so that I always was getting exercise 2 to 3 times a week normally. But then I know even for myself, when I get into this routine, I feel really good. And then I'll get sick or something, or my daughter will get sick, and I'll throw the routine out the window for like 3 weeks or even a month. And I'm like, I need to get back on that. My subconscious pattern changed again to coming home and watching TV and just being like completely exhausted and drained. And that's because I've fallen back into a former subconscious pattern from an event that occurred. And so the event that occurred might have been like just my daughter getting sick, or me getting sick, or just having like a really rough week at work. And then that subconscious pattern that I've made to a healthy choice to go to the gym 3 times a week, or to get exercise at least 3 times a week, falls off. And it's really easy for it to fall off. But then I just need to get back onto it. So it's my subconscious. I'm just going, I don't even think about it. That's the thing that I'm doing each and every day. And so when we really want to transform our mindset and our thoughts, we really have to look at what are those subconscious patterns that we have that we might not even be aware of because they're not part of our conscious mind. And so when we shift those things, that's when we're really going to see change.
I love that, Amanda. Our subconscious mind are basically a disk. There's a disk that holds information. So we have to be aware if we are not doing anything or meditating or myself, I pray, I fast, and it helps me not to fall back to my bad habits because I remain alert. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to fall back. I will. It will try. My subconscious mind will try to take me back to where I've been, and then it's me that will say, "No, thank you. That's not where I need to be. I need to go that way." Because I'm alert. So if you stay alert, that's why the people suggest meditation, that you need to meditate to activate your inner man within inside. That's your winning spirits that keeps you alert. Otherwise, you'll be a walking zombie that agrees with every thought that comes your way. So when you are alert, like Amanda was saying, that our subconscious mind is like 95%. So it will help you to actually be aware of your thoughts and cultivating positive thinking as well. And whenever, anytime, Nick, as well, you actually you touched on awareness, that you have to be aware. Awareness is very important. And being in grace, you touch grace as well. And you said otherwise you get sucked into it. That's where you when you are actually aware, you don't get sucked into going back to square one where you've been. That's why when you meet people, they're like, I've tried the personal development. Because when it's like Amanda, she's reading. When she's reading a book, you have to have a mind where she has this mind, because she's a writer as well. So she has a mind of, I want to learn. But when I'm learning this book, I'm going to create it in my own. I'm going to create my own book in my head. And she's doing it out of love as well, because she loves, she's a writer. A writer has to love what they do. So she loves what she does. So you have to have a mind of an artist, whatever you do. But if you have a mind of, okay, this person wrote this book and the title looks good, I'm going to read it. Or everybody, when I go on YouTube, they say it's good to start a business. I'm going to start my business, or I'm going to apply for promotion. But if it's not something that is in your heart that you love, you apply for a job and then you get bored of it because it doesn't come from your core. So it's very, very important to, when whatever you do, just to go deep within. And with your mindset as well, making sure that you are the ones that is guiding you through, because your mind will suck you back. Your subconscious mind will take you back, like what Amanda said and like what Nick says. But if you are aware, you'll be like, no, thank you. I know the benefits of moving forward, and I know the benefits of being sucked in back to square one. And then you continue moving forward. It's not an easy thing to do. It has a habit that you have to repeat it over and over and over, and then it becomes natural. For me, it's taken me a very, very long time. But what I do is, if somebody is suggesting, or when it comes to mind and brain, I work on it. Then I create my own system that is going to work for me. So I'm aware when that system is violated, or in my mind is being violated by my thoughts. I'm like, no, my thoughts, that's not what I need. And then it redirect myself to the right direction. Over to you guys. Amanda? Or is it Nick?
I can go. So yeah, it's so true. Everything you guys have been talking about here, and it's when you think about it, so think about thoughts. Everything starts as a thought. Absolutely everything in this world that you see as a physical reality started in someone's head. And so what happens is it starts as a thought, and then it becomes words, and then it becomes actions, and then it becomes reality. And so for me, I had the idea to start a apparel brand about 3 years ago. Started obviously as a thought, and then spoke that into the world and took actions, and here we are with a physical thing behind me. And it's such a cool thing when you think about it, as to how that evolves, and how absolutely everything starts as a thought. And then to add in how amazing it is that we can have influence over our own bodies and over our own healing and over how our lives go. And I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but the example of Dr. Joe Dispenza is an amazing one. And so I'll just go over it quickly for those of you that haven't heard it. And so Dr. Joe was a
I'm just going to pause you for like 2 seconds, because he's the author of the book, The Placebo.
Oh, that's amazing. I forgot he wrote that.
Yeah.
So he was a chiropractor and doing some sort of a bicycle race, and he was hit by a car and shattered his spine to the point where he was told that he would never walk again. I can't remember if he was a quadriplegic at that point or so. Yeah, quadriplegic. Thank you. And so he laying in his hospital bed with this terrible, prognosis that he would never walk again. He knew the structure of the spine from his background. And so he decided that he didn't have much to lose in that moment. So he just consciously started thinking about rebuilding his spine. And he took it really seriously, and he would picture every vertebrae and every part and piece of the spine, how it was supposed to be constructed. And he would go through this process for hours. And if he would get distracted at some point, he would start over again and then go through this whole process of rebuilding his spine in his mind. And I don't know the exact time frame. Maybe Amanda, you would know, having freshly read the book, but it was a few weeks, like maybe six weeks or something. He literally walked out of the hospital. He reconstructed his shattered spine with his thoughts alone. And so I think that for me is the ultimate example of how powerful our thoughts are, and how we've been told and we've been led to believe that we don't have any power over our own bodies and over our own healing. And we're certainly not taught the power of our thoughts in our everyday life. And so that example has been really inspirational for me to really go deep down this path and take it seriously and really try and watch my thoughts. And again, there's always going to be times when you're going to go back into those old patterns, and because that programming is deep, like it's in there from childhood, things you've been told as a child, and then on into adulthood. And so it's not easy. Change is never an easy thing for us humans, certainly not. And at the same time, though, it can be so rewarding when you put in that effort and you start seeing the positive influence of those changes that you've made, and in terms of changing your thoughts to a more positive mindset. And so it's hard, but worth it. Amanda, did you find any more info there?
I was just trying to scan it out. After 6 weeks of battling with himself and making effort to present with this consciousness, he was able, through his inward reconstruction process, without having to stop and start over again from the beginning. So that's where he started to meditate really deeply on it for 6 weeks, where he could do it. But I haven't got to the other part where it says 12 weeks. 12 weeks. 9.5 weeks after the accident, he got up and walked back into his life. And it took him 6 weeks to be able to like meditate completely every single vertebrae without getting distracted, which is amazing. His story is absolutely amazing, because he went against all medical advice where they were telling him he needed surgery, and he was like, no, I don't need this. And he knew intellectually that the body had the capacity to heal itself. And so he was a prime example of being able to do that. It's unbelievable, the power of our minds, and how he chose to go against the medical system's advice, because he knew the power that our thoughts can become things, and that our thoughts have the power to heal our bodies. And I've read so much about people healing themselves of cancer, or healing themselves of different ailments because essentially of their thoughts, but also a lot of it too. I know with certain diseases, it's also ridding the body of some toxins, and that can be through changing your diet. And so when we want to transform our mindset, it also generally comes with transforming our body, mind, and spirit. So we start to eat more consciously, we start to exercise more consciously, we start to journal and read and do all of those things that we didn't do before, because we weren't being conscious of the power of our thoughts, and the power of what we put into our bodies essentially comes out as well, shows up, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're putting garbage into your body, then you're going to get that same result out. And that goes even with what it is that you're reading, right? So if you're putting into your brain different topics or concepts or whatever that are not going to help you with growth, then that's essentially not going to help you get to where you want to go to. And so my daughter always laughs at me, because I always have a book. I'm always reading like 3 or 4 different books at a time, and I'll just pick the book that I'm reading that night just based on how I'm feeling or whatever. But I have like 3 on my bedside table at almost all times. And then my daughter was saying to me, she's like, Mom, I can't fall asleep. Like, what is it that you do to fall asleep? I'm like, you know what I do to fall asleep. I read every single night, no matter what. I have my book light. She's like, well, when I try to fall asleep and I read, then I go to turn off my light and I wake myself back up, essentially. And I was like, well, you just have to change one tiny little thing about that process, and you'll be able to fall asleep easier. So like, we have book lights, and she wasn't using her book light. And I was like, this is what I do, is I like curl up with my book and I have my book light on. And then as soon as I start to feel like I'm going to fall asleep, I push the button on the top and set the book down. So the book's like literally in the middle of the bed. And I'm like, try that. And so she tried it, and she's like, oh, it works. I don't wake up back up now when I'm trying to like turn off the light and just put the book away. I'm like, it's just one tiny little change. And sometimes that one thing that we need is one tiny little change. And I've read about people like learning how to get motivated to get up and go to the gym. I don't do this because I'm more of a person that likes to work out after work, but people who want to get motivated and go to the gym in the morning, set your alarm clock across the room. So if that's the one thing that you want to change and get into the mindset of my subconscious pattern is going to the gym, well, in order to change that, you're going to try setting your alarm clock across the room, so you have to physically get up to turn it off. Or where I even read about somebody who would wear their gym clothes to bed just so that they were already ready, so that all they had to do was slip their feet into their shoes and go to the gym. And I was like, that's hilarious, but it's true, because then it was like more work to get undressed, and then, right, you're already like dressed and mentally prepared to go and do it. So that became their subconscious pattern. And I always find that one hilarious, because I'm like, who would do that? But if you really want to change and you're really struggling with changing that subconscious pattern of just hitting snooze, then that might be the one thing that you have to do. And I know I struggle with getting up, so maybe I need to do that, set my alarm clock across the room and then, or even like get prepared to work out first thing in the morning, so that I know that no matter what, I'm going to spend even 15 minutes just working out at home before getting ready for work. And so those little tiny changes, that little tiny shift could just be the one thing that you need to get the ball rolling. And then you have like the snowball effect where it's like, okay, now that I've got this piece going and I've been doing it for a month or 2 months or 3 months, now I can bring in this other piece that I wanted to bring in. And then the snowball will just keep getting bigger and keep rolling with what you've been doing. And I think, Nick, you found that when you had that idea, that spark, then it was like, okay, 3 years ago, I have this spark, I have this idea, I'm going to start doing a little bit of research, and that gets the ball rolling. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to start following these other people that have similar ideas that are going to give me inspiration. And that gets the ball rolling a little bit more. And then the next thing is, and then the next, and then finally this, it just keeps, it's like it has a mind of its own and it just keeps going and you just keep growing along with it.
I love that. I was frozen this side. Were you guys frozen as well? Or okay, that's good. Did you hear me or you didn't hear me? Okay. I love that, Amanda. By the way, anyone who is watching the book that Amanda and Nick are talking about, I've put the link everywhere. I have not put it on YouTube yet, but it's on LinkedIn and it's on Facebook as well. So if anyone wants to go and buy the book, you can go and buy the book of, is it Dr. Spencer? Yeah, you can go and buy the book. The link is there. Will take you there to Amazon. I love anything to do with the mindset. I love it. My pastor 3 weeks ago, he was preaching about how the mindset works. So I've decided to actually use the system like what Dr. Spencer did. I am writing a very, very, very challenging research. So I've decided to use my mindset instead of seeking help. Normally, I'll take an easy way out, maybe get somebody in to help me, so explain it to me. So now I've decided that I'm going to use my mindset to actually fast and pray and just focus on the message that I need to understand. And it has been working. I mean, I go to a space where the solution comes and all of a sudden I would just say, I need to write it on my own, not asking for help. So I got my tutor yesterday for her to clarify what is needed. And she seemed to be very confused as well. So I was like, okay, tell me the basics, what I need to do. So she was like, this is what I need. I can tell you, but you need to contact your leader. She's the one that is dealing with this specific research. She'll be able to tell you. But then after I finished with her, the information that she was explaining, I've decided I'm not going to ask for help because that is asking an easy way out. I will ask for help if I really, really say to myself, I can't really do this. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing things, I'm getting on with it because I've told myself in my mind that I can do this. But bear in mind that there's another challenge thought that can come in and challenge you, which is limitations and fear. You can't do this. This thought will be like, you can't do this. So I was like, sometimes I talk to myself. I'm like, no, I can do this. I can do this. So that's how I've been challenging myself to say, you know what, I can do this. Even with my business, like today I had somebody in and I was like, I need to do this. There's no health and safety with the dating industry, proper dating industry. So I was like, I got a company in and I was like, you need to, this is not about me, it's about my clients. So my mind tells me that somehow there's health and safety that I need to put it in space for my clients. I need to put in place. So can you tell me what you can do for me? in order for my clients to be safe. So I need them, for my clients, that company, to carry the burden of the safetiness for them. So, but before, I would just think about how much is it going to cost me? How much is it going to do this? And after I finish this guy, and then I realize actually it doesn't cost much. It's just those extra security things that you have to add on. But before, my mindset would be like, that's not necessary. These things are not necessary. My mind would take me to a place where I don't need to be. And then I will start agreeing with my mind. But when my pastor was speaking and I was like, I need to do this, he was like, with the thing that people succeed, they've realized the mind, that's how the mind works. Those who are not succeeding will keep having problems and problems. They have not figured this out. So I was like, okay, that's why you think that I keep having problems. I need to figure this secret out. So I've been working on this thing and it's working. So it's anyone that is watching, you don't have to entertain problems. Your mind is designed to carry you through to the road of success. That road of success is never ending, but you are the designer of that destiny. Your mind, your subconscious mind, like what Nick was saying, you could be sucked back. If it's not your mind, it's people around you. What are they speaking to your subconscious mind? Voices, what kind of voices are they planting in that foundation of your subconscious mind? The words they speak, how are they motivating you as well? The environment where you are is very, very, very important to actually evaluate the whole foundation of your life. Because if you say, I'm going to work on my mindset, and while you're surrounded by people that are not right for you, it could be also the relationship, why you are surrounded. I'm not saying, by the way, go around and dumping people. There's some people that they watch my talk show and they say, no, so watch your talk show. And then I ended up dumping my this. I'm not saying dump anybody. All I'm saying is the mindset. If you are not in the right relationship, you have to evaluate your relationship, evaluate your work environment as well. Maybe you are in the job where you're fed up. Nick knows what it means to be in the job where you're fed up. Actually, your story, I met somebody the other day, and I was like, oh, how is work? And he goes, I walked out. I was like, what do you mean now you walked out? And he goes, my wife, when I walked out, and his wife was next to him. She goes, she told me after I walked out that if I had stayed, she would have left me. They've got 2 kids. If we are not happy, you have to change things, your mindset, because sometimes our minds and our thoughts tells us things are going to be okay. Things are going to turn around. But you have to actually evaluate. And also when you evaluate your mindset and your thoughts and look at the journey where the promises that you've made for yourself, this is the journey where I'm going. But is your mind and your skills, are they taking you to where you really, really need to go? And then you evaluate everything. If it's not, you just be honest. It's okay to be honest and say, you know what? I don't like this part. Like myself, I took 30-day challenge with Matthew Hazy. I'm a coach, but just because I'm a coach, it doesn't mean that I don't feel, sometimes I don't feel like fear, or I don't feel the negative about things I do. So I took that challenge for myself to actually evaluate my things, that the life that I was leading. And then I realized actually the life where I need to go, I was maybe 60% because of my confidence and because of my thoughts, allowing my thoughts to tell me that I can't get there. I cannot do that. But now I'm realizing that I need to challenge my thoughts in a grace way, like what Nick was saying. And bear in mind, when you say you want grace, you're going to get war. So when you pray for peace, you don't get peace, you get war. And then it's up to you, your mindset and your thoughts to challenge that war. You get people that will come into your life. When I'm saying war, You will get people that will come into your life and tell you that you are not good enough. That's where your mindset comes in and say, you know what? Actually, I am good enough. I can do this. We are here at Nkositalkshows because we are coaches by choice and friends by choice. And we are family by choice because we've decided that we can do this. And that's what we are doing. So everybody that is watching, if there is something your mind tells you that actually I've always wanted to maybe go on somewhere, mountain climbing, go to South Africa, Cape Town, holiday, 1 week, 2 weeks, and your thoughts tells you, you know what, is expensive. I don't think I can afford this. Life is too short. Just go. Have fun. That's all I can tell you. Just go and have fun. Life is like, I don't know how I can tell you. Today is something else. Let your thoughts guide you through, and at the same time, live with grace, like Nick says, and enjoy life.
And
Over to you, Nick.
I've been thinking about times in my life where I've made a conscious effort and made a decision to do something, and then just through power of thought made it happen. And so when I was 24 years old, I was wanting to get into police work, was my dream. And I'd applied to a number of police services before that and had been deferred, it's called, and had a degree in justice studies at that point and a lot of experience, and was really focused on making this goal happen. And I was at a point where I was getting frustrated because of the deferrals that I'd been handed. And it's funny now to look at it with hindsight. It was like the universe was putting all these resistance in my way to probably show me something that I wasn't listening to at the time, but that's okay. But I remember, so I went to an information session, it was called, with the RCMP here in Canada. And so it was a recruiting kind of seminar, and it was in a theater sort of set up. And there was I'd say that there's about 100 people in this theater. And so the presenter is talking about the process, and he goes into, right at the beginning, says, the percentages are that only 2 of you in this room are going to end up going to depot, which is the training for the RCMP. And I remember thinking in that moment, I'm like looking around the room, and I said to myself, who's coming with me? Because I'm one of those people. And sure enough, I ended up was one of those people. But that was one time that I remember like actually believing that and really thinking about it and creating that thought in my mind, that really strong, like motivational kind of thinking where I was just, no, this is happening. And then it did. And so it's something that then I forgot about that for like another 25 years. And now here I am back realizing, oh, okay, I was onto something back then. I just forgot about it. And so I think that's something that we can look back on our own lives. Everyone can think of a time where they were like, no, like this is what I'm doing. And obviously starts as a thought, and then you create it in your reality. And I love the quote by Henry Ford, and it's, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And it's just simple, and he nails it, because it's so true. Like if you don't think you can do something, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to see it through and have that momentum carry you through. And then on the flip side, when you truly believe that you can do something, the world just gets out of your way, and you can just make things happen. And it all again starts with the power of thought. And then I just wanted to touch on one other thing, and that's that so we're talking more on the positive side, obviously, but on the negative side, bad negative thoughts and those negative beliefs about yourself or a situation you're in, that is what causes disease. So when those when those thoughts go uninterrupted for years and years and years, that creates disease in your body and manifests itself as all sorts of different issues, from cancers to like autoimmune stuff to all sorts of things. And a lot of times those thoughts are the result of trauma as well. And I'm a firm believer that unresolved trauma is at the root cause of all of the problems in our society, and is at the root cause of disease. And this unresolved trauma then affects your thoughts, which leads to the disease. So it's really important to not only watch your thoughts, but a lot of times it's not something that's your fault. It's something that is the result of unresolved trauma in your life. And so I would just encourage everyone to take a hard look at where you're resisting going, those hard things to think about, the bad things that have happened in your life. Those are the areas that can be subconsciously causing your thoughts to go to a bad place. And so everyone's own healing looks differently, but there's a lot of help out there to actually successfully process traumas. And once you've done that, then you're free to create your thoughts. They're not just an old unresolved kind of pattern that's running. It's something that you can then effectively come in and change, and for the better. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about, is that we need to, as a society, as a species, to get better at dealing with our traumas, because we all have them, and they can affect us in really horrible, negative ways, and we don't even realize it. Like Amanda showed that graphic of the 95% subconscious versus 5% conscious. And so, yeah, that 95%, if there's trauma in there running, it's going to affect you in every aspect of your life. So yeah, that was something that is near and dear to my heart for sure.
I love that. As we've been talking, I've been like jotting down like the ways that we can transform our mindset, and just from listening to us today, I actually have like 11 jot notes of all of the powerful things we can do to transform your mind. So I'm just going to go over them quickly for us. So number 1 was become aware of your thoughts, because they're important and they create your reality. And the conscious mind is 5% and the subconscious mind is 95% of your functioning. So it's key to learn how to shift your subconscious patterns. The reason you get sucked back in is because of these subconscious patterns. Number 2 is take one subconscious pattern at a time and rewrite it over a period of 21 days. Then pick the next one. Have compassion. Number 3, have compassion and grace with yourself when you fall back into your subconscious patterns. Number 4, don't give up on your personal growth journey, because it's a continuous journey, not a destination. Number 5, everything in the world starts with a thought and evolves as we continue to pursue it. Number 6, once you have one subconscious pattern shifted and changed, picks the next one and get that snowball rolling. Once you set that path, it will grow exponentially. Number 7, surround yourself with people who help you grow. Number 8, spend more time doing what lights you up inside. Life's too short. You need to have fun. Number 9, start to become aware of the messages the universe is sending you. Number 10, look back on your own life and you will see examples of the power your thoughts had. When you truly believe you can do something, the world gets out of your way. I love what you just said about that, Nick. I think that should be like a quote that you can share with the world, because it's so true. When you really truly believe in something and you're determined that everything else will get out of your way so that you can get there. Number 11, unresolved trauma is at the root of our problems. Take a hard look at where you're resisting going. Those are the areas that are subconsciously holding you back. Once you have processed You are free to take charge of your own thoughts and growth. And I think those pretty much sum up like so many powerful ways that you can transform your mindset, because it's not just one thing that's going to transform it. It's actually a combination of things. And whenever I look at a problem, you can't compartmentalize it. And we have to look at the problem from a whole as to what sort of aspects, like you were saying, in childhood or other trauma are leading to this. And that's one of the problems that I think we have in our medical system or even in our school system, is that we try to compartmentalize each and everything. So if you have a headache, it's like, okay, you have a headache, take some Advil or take some Tylenol, but you're not actually looking at the root problem of what is causing that headache. So is it tension? Is it stress? Is it how you're sitting at your computer? Is it that you are constantly in a fight-flight mode? What is it that's actually at the root cause of those headaches? And if you could dig down into that root cause and start to shift those patterns and shift those things that are causing the headaches, essentially you could get rid of your headaches. It might be through physio and chiropractor and massage and mindset work, but it's more difficult than just, here's that pill, bye, have a great day, right? Because if we just continue that path we're going, well, then the next time we have a headache, we just go back into that same pattern. Oh, I'll take my Advil and I'll be fine. Oh, I'll take my right. And then essentially what Nick was saying too is that, well, those types of patterns cause disease within the body. And so that constant fight, flight, or that constant stress is actually going to, when we don't get to the root of that problem, it's going to cause more stress and anguish and disease down the road, because we haven't got to the root of the problem, when really, even though getting to the root of the problem might seem more difficult in the beginning, in the long run, it's actually going to be hugely beneficial, because eventually you'll just get completely fed up and realize, okay, I probably should have been doing this, like looking at the deeper picture from day one. And so, yeah, I know I listened to a podcast by Mark Groves while I was at the gym the other day, and I forget who the doctor was that was on, but he was a Chinese medicine doctor, actually from Alberta, where I live. And he was talking about how so many times when people come to his office, they're just like, I'll try anything. I've tried every single thing there is, and how essentially the Chinese medicine that he does looks at the root cause and looks at the person as a whole and tries to have a holistic approach to healing. And I think that we've got so into these quick fixes that we forget about the whole. We forget about the holistic approach. And so even in the classroom, when I look at a student who's struggling with their learning, I'm not like, oh, you just need to get better at math. That's the problem. It's like, no, did you eat today? What's going on at home? Are you getting enough sleep? What are you eating? Those are the sort of things that are actually like going to give me more information than just, you need to study math because you failed your math test. That's compartmentalizing the problem, and we're not looking at the root cause of the problem in that situation. So I think that in society as a whole, we need to get away from that quick fix. So here's a tutor, you'll be fine. It's like, no, what is really the reason why we need a tutor? And could it be sleep? Could it be food? Could it be home life? Could it be, what are all of these things? And how can we have a more holistic approach to the struggles we have as children so that they don't become trauma as adults?
Love that. I love what Amanda said. By the way, I've copied your points and I'm gonna put them on the videos as a comment when I have time. Definitely I'll put them on YouTube. And I love that. I love what Amanda is saying about the kids. If they're struggling, things go deep. Everything has a foundation. the lives that we lead, it has a foundation, like Nick is saying. You have to deal with the trauma, the roots of the problem, because let's say if you go to work and you don't get along with everybody, that means that there is a problem. So you have to look at the roots. Or sometimes it could be the bad management, or sometimes it could be maybe just look at yourself whether you are in the right environment or relationships. When relationships are not working, look at the roots of the problems. And it could be back your childhood trauma. And for me, I've realized, I've noticed something. I've gone back as well. My pastor mentioned that mentioning the roots a few weeks ago as well. I went back from the day my mom carried me from my womb, and I'm cutting the cords. I'm on 6 years or 5 years now. So I still need to go until I'm 44. So I'm cutting the roots date by date, like when I was 1 month, 2 months, like 1 day, 3 days, 4 days. Now I've gone up to 5 years. I'm doing it every single day because I'm cutting the roots. The problem is you don't know what your parents, when your parents go through pain, or maybe when my mom, my dad, the relationship, the arguments, if I was they were pregnant with me, it could be transferred to me spiritually. So I'm cutting those codes, that anything that I don't know, I'm asking the blood of Jesus to go deep into my foundation and wipe away every tear, every pain, every rejection that was programmed into my life unknowingly, that is now affecting me, my adult, my future self, and my present self. And I have noticed that there's so much freedom in me, within me. And I think you have to deal with whatever is going on myself. I always look at myself. I deal with me. If I don't get along with somebody, I look at myself. If myself is fine, so I'm like, okay, no, so you're good to go. It means you have to move away from this person. And the roots of the problems are very, 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 very important. And Amanda, like what you're saying, when children are struggling, you have to go back to the roots of the problem at home. Is everything okay at home? If it's not okay, then you have to deal with the problems that is behind all that. It could be children, they're not happy at home. So with my children as well, I look back when they have problems, the arguments that I had with their dad when I was pregnant, I'm like, I don't want it to affect my children. Then I have to cut the roots of those negativity and then I go to my spouse as well. I do the same on his behalf and pray for him and cutting the roots as well. If my business is not going the way I want, I also do the same as well and cut the roots. And all of a sudden you see things moving forward the way you want it to go because of the mindset. Mindset is the mind is very, very powerful. Really, really, really powerful. If you are somebody who has this thing of I can't, you're going to stay in that moment of I can't. So you have to have a mindset of I can do it. I can do this. I can be this. I can do this. If everything is possible, you can be anything if you want to. My prayer for those who are Christians, they will understand my prayer, and that is changing things. Raw power of God come upon me. I don't want no finances. I don't want to manifest no finances, nothing, but I need him to come upon me so I can have everything. He would decide what I need to have. And the other one is, oh, God ordain my feet like Joshua. Those who read the Bible, you can go and read the Bible. Tony Robbins, he does not memorize his script. He says he had to memorize the Bible, every scripture in the Bible. But then when he was talking about how he doesn't memorize the script when he speaks, I realized that this man is very smart. He knows every scripture in the Bible. And when you know every scripture in the Bible, it means you can say in your mind what you want. and the Holy Spirit will speak over you, will help you to guide you through. So that's what he does. That's why he is what he is. And also the other one is, oh Lord, ordain my dreams like Joseph's dream. Joseph never agreed that he was nobody. He kept rejecting every negativity until he went to a place, to palace. And that's when he said, this is where I need to be. So if you are a person, a human being that wants to succeed in life, in marriage, you can go to any coach. You can go to anybody, the best coach in the world. But if this is not in the right place in the foundation of your life, what Nick said and Amanda, if it's not in the right place, you can't get to where you need to go. You will keep blaming the coaches, but actually the problem is in the roots of the foundation and also the trauma. You have to learn to deal with it. And Amanda, I know it's 2 minutes past 2. Any words of encouragement, please, and also tell the audience where they can connect with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly touch on the cord cutting stuff that you were talking about, because I've done stuff like that at retreats before, but not in a religious organization or anything like that. But the power of going back through and cutting energetic cords was sort of through like a yoga thing that I've done, and it was really, really powerful, and just like reaching some of those subconscious things that you didn't even know you were holding on to, and also multi-generational things that you can become aware of as well. And so if you're like me and you don't have a religious organization or something like that there are still ways that you can do cord cutting, like ceremonies at a yoga studio or different retreats as well that will do stuff like that it can be really powerful as well. Yeah, I hope that everyone has figured out something from what we've talked about today on how to transform your mindset through the power of thoughts. And one of the things that I love to do is to empower people through their unique creative gifts. So if you go to my website, I actually have a free digital download for anyone that would love to empower their lives and reset their minds to creativity. And my website's just there, www.artmindfulnessandcreativity.com. And that way we can stay connected too, because then you end up on my email list. And I tend to email once a week or once every 2 weeks, just to let people know what's going on, and also to send out free ebooks and different things that I'm working on. Nick?
Yeah, this has been really good. I think we've definitely highlighted how powerful our thoughts are. And I think for me in closing is that, and a big thing for me in my life that I've learned is that what you resist persists. So where you resist something, whether it's a thought or whatever, that is what's going to keep coming into your mind. And so to get to the root cause, I think that's another key to uncover what those traumas are, and then successfully process those traumas will truly set you free, and will give you the power of your thoughts back to you, and not have something unresolved controlling those thoughts. So that's it for me. But you can connect with me at flowstatedesigns.ca. And if you have any questions or anything, just reach out to me there. And yeah, thanks. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you guys for your amazing insights. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda and Nick, and to our audience that are watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and be part of the family. And also you can join a membership if you want to. And if you're watching us on Facebook, we have 2 Facebook groups. We have Unique Billionaire Mindset group. You can join the group. And we have Nkositalkshows group. So you can join and follow us there in the group and post whatever you do about your business and stuff. And like our page and give us some stars if you are generous. And live with grace, everyone. Don't forget, if you are a Christian, if you're a non-Christian, you can follow Amanda's plan. And if you are, even if you are non-Christian and you believe that there is a God out there, you can use my prayer. It's very, very powerful. I can tell you, I've used it. It is very, my mind is actually becoming something that I didn't know that I was capable of, because I'm like asking God himself to actually connect with me. So, because if I manifest for other things, I believe that I'm not going to get where I need to be. But if I connect with him, I get to where I need to go. And there has been some changes. Just use your beliefs to take you to where you need to be. Then you get there. And when you do that, you have to believe it as well. You can't have second thoughts. You can't have fear, because your beliefs are the one that are carrying you through life. God bless. Live with grace. See you tomorrow.